My name is Arya. I was 19-year old when my whole life changed forever. I lived with my father in a large, beautiful house in a town called Blue Harbor. Our house stood on a hills overlooking the ocean. Every morning I could hear waves crashing against the shore, and every evening I watched the sun sink into the water. My mother passed away 3 years ago. She was gentlest, warmest, and more loving woman I had ever known. She was always smiling, always caring, and always protecting me. She loved my father deeply, and she loved me even more when she died. Our lives fell apart. The house that once felt full of warmth suddenly felt cold and empty. My father, Mr. Lorenzo Hurt, was owner of a famous beach hotel in Willow Harbor. Many people admire him. He was hardworking, polite, and respected in the community. But after my mother's death, I could see sadness in his eye every single night. He threw himself into his work, coming home late and speaking very little. 2 years later, my father called me into his study. His face looked nervous. He sat me down and said, Arya, I have something important to tell you. I have been thinking about getting married again. I was shocked. My heart felt tight, and for a moment I felt angry. How could he think of another woman when my mother was gone? But then I saw how lonely he looked. He had lost the love of his life, and I know he was hurting inside. So I said nothing, even though my heart was breaking. A few weeks later, he introduced me to a woman named Victoria. She was tall, elegant, and very beautiful. She worked as the manager of my father's hostel. He spoke softly and smiled warmly at me. She asked, high school Arya, what to do? You like to do? Do you enjoy reading and painting? For a moment, I thought maybe she was kind. Maybe she could help my father feel help again. After survival month, my father married her. Their wedding was small but lovely. Held near the bench at sunset. Everyone congratulated my father and said he was lucky to have such a wonderful wife. At first, Victoria acted like a perfect stepmother. She cooked delicious meals, asked about my day, and even bought me beautiful dresses. When my father was home, she treated me with love. But when my father left for the hotel, everything changed. Her smile disappeared. Her eyes turned cold. She would point at me and say sharply, Arya, clean the living room. Wash the dishes, fold the laundry. I replied, but Victoria, we have housemaid. She laughed loudly and said, from now on you will do it. You are not princess here. I felt humiliated and heartbroken. I am in my own home. I felt like a servant. Every evening when my father returned, Victoria acted sweet again. He hugged me in the front of him and presented to care. My father believed her completely. At night, I cried alone in my room. I missed my mother deeply many times. I wanted to tell my mother the truth, but I was afraid. He looked happier and with Victoria, and I did not want to break his heart again. Then things began to go wrong. My father's hotel business started losing money. Important files went missing. Secret financial information was leaking to rival hotels. My father became stressed and sleepless. One night I heard Victoria talking loudly on the phone in her room. She said, "Yes, I sent all the documents. Soon the hotel will belong to us. You trusted me completely. He has no idea what I am doing." My heart began to pound. She was betraying my father. The next day, I secretly followed her to a small cafe near the bench. She met a man there. I hid behind a wall, listening and careful. The man said, "Good job, Victoria. Soon we will run his Lorinios hotels and take his money." Victoria smiled and replied, "After his wife died, he was weak and desperate. He never knew that I poisoning her, and soon I will poison him too. I feel dizzy. My mother had been murdered. Tears filled my eyes, but I stayed quiet. I recorded everything on my phone. That evening, I went to my father's office at home. He looked pale and exhausted. I placed my phone on his desk and pressed play. As he listened, his face turned white. His hand trembled. When the recording ended, he covered his face and began to cry. He said softly, "Arya, all this time I believe your mother died peacefully." I hugged him tightly and we cried together. That night we made a plan. The next day, Victoria was speaking on the phone again, but this time the police were already in our home. My father had called them using my recording and evidence. Victoria tried to pretend she was innocent, but it was useless. The police arrested him immediately. Before being taken away, she glared at me and said, "You ruined everything." I looked at her calmly and said, "No, you destroy your own life." Soon the whole town of Below Harbor learned the truth. Everyone was shocked. Victoria was sent to prison for murder, fraud, and betrayal. After she left, our house slowly returned to peace. My father was heartbroken at first, but I stayed beside him every day. The hotel began to recover, and workers supported my father because they represent him at night. I still missed my mother, but I felt relieved knowing her killer was gone. One evening, my father sat beside me and said, "Arya, I should have seen the truth sooner, but you saved me. You saved our family." I only did what mom would have wanted for the first time in years. I felt safe again. Our house was no longer filled with fear and lies. It was filled with love, memories, and peace. I learned that evils can wear beautiful smile, but the truth always comes out in the end. I will always protect my family, and I know my mother is watching for heaven, smiling proudly at me. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share. Don't forget you subscribe.